Do you want to learn my secret on how to make this cute little ghost? If so, stay tuned to find out how. Here and welcome to BOCHIKNOT Macrame, the channel where you will find everything macrame related. If you are keen on learning macrame with me, then click that subscribe button to stay tuned to our latest tutorials. In this tutorial, I will be going over how to make this cute little ghost just in time for fall and Halloween. I wouldn't say this is a beginner-friendly project because it's really not. If you do know the double half hitch knot really well, then you can try this pattern, but I would say this is more of an advanced beginner / intermediate tutorial. Because this is a smaller project, the time commitment is not super crazy, but it is fairly intricate because you do have to make several double half hitch knots. If you are interested in learning how to make 3D sculptures, this is a great intro to that. We start at the top of the ghost's head. We've kind of spiraled several rows of double half hitch knots by adding new cords to every row, and then once we're done adding new cords, we repeat those same rows of double half hitch knots all around, and then you'll start to notice a dome-like pattern form. And then we continue downwards, and then this is how the shape of the ghost will form. You do need a special tool for this project, and that is a crochet hook. We don't use it to form the knots of this piece, but we do need to use it to pull some of the cords through. If you do have a weaving needle instead, that will work as well. If you want to learn more about 3D sculptures and how to make them, we have several other intricate 3D sculpture patterns over on our BOCHIKNOT Macrame community on Patreon. I'll link that in the description below, so if you're interested, you can check that out for more details. And with that said, let's get right into it.
And here are the materials and supplies you will need for this pattern. I've used 3mm macrame cord along with some 1.5mm string. Here are the cord lengths that I have used for this pattern. Yours might look slightly different, and I'll explain that later in the tutorial. The cord that I'll be using today is a 3mm single strand cord from our Lush line. Now this cord is made out of bamboo, so it has that natural shine to it. It is super soft as it looks. So it's very comfortable on the hands, but it also has a fairly decent twist so that you can make several neat knots without having it unravel. Overall, this cord is fairly easy to use for all skill levels. Other than the bamboo cord, I'll also be using some 1.5mm 2-ply string from our rainbow cord line. I'm using this color black for the eyes and the mouth of the ghost. If you're interested in any of the materials I have just shown you here for the pattern, you can head on over to bochiknot.com for more details. And also a special tool that you will need for this pattern is a crochet hook. We're going to start with our 250cm long cord. On one end, we're going to fold the cord end over to form a loop like so. Then taking a strand of cord at 125cm long, we're going to fold it in half and attach it onto the loop with a reverse lark set knot. Attach 2 more 125cm strands of cord onto the loop with reverse lark set knots. Once all 3 strands have been attached, take the longer end of the anchor cord and pull on it so that the loop tightens. The long anchor cord end will be used as the anchor cord for several rows of double half hitch knots. And then the shorter anchor cord end is going to be tucked inside and underneath the pattern. Now we're going to take our last 125 centimeter long cord and attach it onto the anchor cord with a reverse lark's head knot. We're going to add a strand of cord here first before we start on the double half hitch knots, because as you can see, there are some gaps in between the cords. So now bringing that long anchor cord over to the left, we're going to attach the first two vertical cords on the left onto the anchor cord with double half hitch knots. We're making and starting a spiral-like row of double half hitch knots. And every time we reach a gap in between the vertical cords, this is when we're going to attach another strand of cord to fill in the gap. So first we're going to make 2 double half hitch knots. Now we're going to take a strand of 115 centimeter long cord and we're going to attach it onto the anchor cord with a reverse lark's head knot. Now we're going to repeat this pattern 2 more times. So 2 double half hitch knots with the vertical cords, then attach one 115 centimeter long cord with a reverse lark's head knot. Repeat this pattern 2 more times. In total, you should have added 2 sets of 2 double half hitch knots plus a reverse lark's head knot. So that means 2 more 115 centimeter long cords, which means we've already added 3 strands of 115 centimeter long cords. Then we're going to continue with the double half hitch knots until we arrive at the next gap. Now you don't have to follow my exact cord lengths and the exact point at which you add cords to your spiral. So you might have a gap somewhere else than where I had gaps, and that's okay. To measure the length at which you should be adding your cords onto the anchor cord, you just take the last working cord used, measure that, and then double it, and that's the strand of cord that you're going to attach. As we're starting the 3rd row of this double half hitch knot pattern, we're adding another 115 centimeter long cord with a reverse lark's head knot. Finish off this row of double half hitch knots, adding another strand of 115 centimeter long cord along the way. We've now completed our 3rd row. Although our first row was made out of reverse lark's head knots, our 2nd and 3rd rows were full double half hitch knots. And we're going to repeat this pattern for 2 more full rows, adding 2 strands of 105 centimeter long cords for the next row, and then 4 strands of 100 centimeter long cords for the 5th row. And we are now complete with adding cords to our pattern. Other than the anchor cord we started off with, we've added 15 strands of cord along the way with reverse lark's head knots. Now make a full row of double half hitch knots all around. Once that row of double half hitch knots have been made, you're going to see that the pattern's going to start to curve and a dome will start to form. That's because we're not adding any other cords to keep it flat. And this is what we want. We want this pattern to start curving to form that dome-like shape. So continue with these consecutive rows of double half hitch knots all around. We've already added 1 full row, and now we're going to add 7 more rows of double half hitch knots for a total of 8 rows. Once done, this is what the pattern should look like. We should have what looks like an upside down basket. Now that we're done the body of the ghost, we're going to make the little arms. To do that, we're going to use our crochet hook and we're going to skip 3 rows of double half hitch knots from the bottom, and in that 3rd row we're going to thread through a 30 centimeter strand of cord. Now taking a 50 centimeter strand of cord underneath the 2 cord ends that we had just weaved through, we're going to make 3 consecutive square knots. Now with the bottom cord ends, we're going to thread them through the next row of double half hitch knots underneath. Start by pulling through the middle 2 cords first, and then in the double half hitch knot holes right beside it, pull through the far left and right cords as well. Once all 4 strands of cords are pulled through to the inside of the ghost, we are going to secure this inside with 2 double overhand knots. Once we're done, we can cut off the excess cord ends. Now, on the other side of the ghost, repeat the exact same pattern. Once we finish adding the arms, we're going to take our anchor cord and add another row of double half hitch knots, stopping at the back of the pattern. The reason why we're adding another row of double half hitch knots is so that we have enough room to add the scalloped edges at the bottom. And now we're ready to add the little edging at the bottom of the ghost. To do that, we're going to take a strand of cord at 100 centimeters long. We're going to place it down vertically, and then taking a longer 300 centimeter strand of cord, place it beside the other cord on the left. So the left here is the longer cord, the right is the 100 centimeter long cord. So starting with the 300 centimeter long cord, this is going to be our working cord. We're going to make a series of half hitch knots. We're going to make a total of 8 consecutive half hitch knots on the same side for one scalloped pattern. So you should see here that there are 8 half hitch knots made. Now what we're going to do is, using our crochet hook, we're going to weave it through the bottom last row of double half hitch knots. So starting on one side of the ghost, we're going to take our crochet hook through the last row of double half hitch knots, and then we're going to pull the short cord ends through to the inside of the ghost. Once the short ends are pulled through, tie a double overhand knot to secure. Then with the longer cord ends, we're going to pull them through to the inside of the ghost, right beside it, to form a little looped scallop pattern. So now what we're going to do, once we have threaded the cords to the inside of the ghost, we're going to thread the same 2 cord ends through the next hole right beside it, back up to the outside of the ghost. Once both cord ends are pulled through, using the same longer cord end as the working cord, make 8 consecutive half hitch knots onto the anchor cord. Now we're going to thread the 2 cord ends through the first row of double half hitch knots at the bottom, the same way we had done the first scallop pattern, ensuring that we pull it back up to the front. Continue with these scallop patterns all around until you reach the part where the last row of double half hitch knots at the bottom of the ghost ends. And what I mean by that is right here, where that last row of double half hitch knot ends, you're going to see that your scalloped pattern is on the second last row. And so to adjust this accordingly, what we're going to do is we're going to weave the other side of this scallop pattern through the first row of double half hitch knots. Once we've threaded it through, thread it back up through that same first row and then continue finishing off the rest of the scalloped pattern in that bottom row. Once we're done the scalloped pattern, the remaining 2 cords should be on the inside of the ghost. To secure it, we're going to tie a double overhand knot and then cut off the excess cord ends. Now to attach the eyes onto the ghost, we're going to use 2 30cm strings for the eyes. What we're going to do is we're going to thread this string through on the same spot, wrapping it around a double half hitch knot. So thread it through one side, then thread the other end through to the inside of the ghost as well. And that is the spot we're going to keep threading the same strand of string through multiple times until you have a dark enough eye. Continue weaving this string back and forth. Once done, the string ends should be on the inside of the ghost. If the ends are long enough for you to make a double overhand knot to secure, do that. If they aren't long enough, you can just tuck them inside and that should be okay. And then repeat for another eye right beside it. We're going to use a 15cm strand of string for the mouth. Take one end of the string and thread it through to the inside of the ghost. Then with that inner end, we're going to make a double overhand knot. Then pull on the long end to tighten that side of the mouth. Then bring the string end to the other side, so to the right, and then pull the string end through. Then with that string end, tie another double overhand knot to secure. Now all that's left to do is tuck in all of the excess cord ends and string ends to the inside of the ghost. All of the cord ends will stay inside. You can trim off some more if you'd like and then tuck it in. I find that it's a little easier for the cord ends to stay in place inside if they are a little bit longer. So I would just stuff them up on the inside of the ghost. And we are now complete with this ghost pattern.
And that's a wrap with our macrame ghost pattern. What did you guys think of it? Let me know in the comment section below. I definitely love this pattern because I think it's super cute and I just really like making 3D sculptures nowadays. I really want to hear from you guys, so if you did enjoy this tutorial and you are interested in learning more 3D figurine type macrame projects like the mini one that we went over today, let me know in the comment section below. If after making this project you feel like you want to brush up on your knots first before attempting another one, you can head on over to BOCHIKNOT.com and download our free 50 knots and sentence ebook. It's a great guide to have by your side when you're making macrame projects, just so you can refer back to it on how to make the knots. If you guys are interested, you guys can head on over there to check it out. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.